what I do need is early dismissal from you.
Okay.
I wish.
All right, let's talk about what we're going into that is not your stuff. That's geometry. Okay, today we need to continue on our little topic we were talking about. We were talking about checks and verbal expressions, verbal form. Let's continue that today. Hopefully you have your notes out, so take those out. You need to take notes every day, and there's some days I will actually check to see if you are actually taking notes and give you points for it. Yes, it is important. I do check notes. So it is not an option in this course. You actually have to take them. And it's crazy. That's why you need notebooks and all that good stuff. Okay, on your homework, make sure, especially if you didn't do this for the first one, that has to be in the upper corner. Name, date, page numbers, period. So. All right, let's talk about what we're going into here. I'm going to put it on the board. We'll discuss. Okay, first thing we're going to be going into. We're going into section 1.2 today. We're actually moving on. This is verbal form. Okay, so what this is going to entail, we have a couple different things we're going to discuss today. Number one, we need to continue with the checkbook. We're going to continue with that. What is a checkbook? How do you deal with it? Because some people have never seen one, never used it. How many of you actually have a checking account? You guys have one? Oh, interesting. All right, that's good. It's good to have it. So, most of the things are online anymore. You don't even have to write physical checks.
Verbal form, is that the name of the thing?
Yeah, that's the name of the chapter. So we're going to talk about the checkbook. That will work us into the first thing we're going to be talking about, which is verbal form. A verbal form is a way of doing either communicating out loud or written expression. What I mean by written expressions, we can write out numbers in word form. Can you say it? Can you write it down? Can you spell things correctly? Do you know all the punctuation marks that are involved? Punctuation marks. I don't think I spelled punctuation right. Looks weird.
How do you spell it right?
Looks weird. Is there a dictionary? I spelled it not right. I forgot a T. I knew it was weird. Punctuation. I can't spell this. Punctuation. There you go. So, punctuation. And what we're going to be finishing with at the very end of today is we're going to talk about how to round. There's different types of rounding, because that is a part of verbal form. A lot of times when you're telling somebody a price of an item, a lot of people round it. It makes more sense. We'll talk about that today. All right, so these are our main things. Now, we do have homework due tomorrow. Homework is due tomorrow, so that is due right when you walk in tomorrow. Due tomorrow. So make sure that gets done. I think on Munson I got to check your book to see if you have your book cover on. It's 30% now. Now you're at sea levels. So you have one more day to figure that out before I don't think it's passing anymore.
Okay.
So, all right. So homework due tomorrow. Think about that. That is your page 2 with 2 different pages on that. Okay. All right. Let's work right into that checkbook. In fact, let me put it back on the board, and I want to see how much you guys remember. Okay. Here's the thing. I don't want you to say anything out loud. In fact, I'm going to actually move. Sam, I'd like you to move to a different chair. So move over here. Okay, take out a piece of paper. We're actually going to see how much you remember from yesterday.
All I remember is about checkbook and...
Don't say that loud. Don't say that loud. Okay. All right, here we go. Math. All right. I'm going to put this back on the board. I would like you to draw this object on your paper right now. That.
What? That?
That. Draw it on your paper.
You have to draw all that stuff?
All of it. You can make up the information and put in that spot, but you can like abbreviate and whatnot. Okay, you need to draw that. And I want you to start filling in, what do you remember, what did we talk about yesterday in these locations? What was the importance of it? You can draw arrows and label things, like this is this, and you're pointing arrows.
That 19's not supposed to be there, right?
Yeah, you can replay this at 20 if you want. Okay, so draw that on a piece of paper, and I would like you to label what are the things you remember us discussing about this thing yesterday. This will be a part of our review process for today, because this is
like the
important.
Main Street stuff and all. I don't remember whatever.
Yeah, you can just make that up. Get something random in there.
Yeah.
Or whatever you remember us talking about yesterday. In fact, I'm going to put a little timer on the board. So I'm going to give you about 5 minutes. This is our little 5-minute check. How much do you know? How much do you remember?
All I remember is this thing. That's it.
Whoa,
Oh,
that's really small.
I almost could still read that. Okay, maybe not so much. Why not? I like how it's jumping.
5 minutes. Write down what do you remember from yesterday about this object. Drawing it, labeling it, all that good stuff. So now we're going to continue today.
1, 2, 3, street. Oh, that's fun. Big town. Gigs. What is the TN 0123 mean? The Anytown thing.
Oh, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that. We haven't talked about it yet.
Oh, and do we also put that one date, that by the 19th also?
Yeah.
Yesterday's date or today's date?
Today.
What is the date today? Are we supposed to make up a name where it says 4?
Yes. Okay, got about a minute left to write down what do you remember about this thing.
Oh.
So you've probably been filling it out. Maybe point arrows, what are the little things you remember?
What if you can't remember anything?
That could be the case.
I'm not cheating.
No. What's the amount that I give you?
Me? What did I already do?
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the room, and I'm going to ask you certain pieces, and I'm going to ask you what you filled in, and then we'll talk about some things we didn't get to yesterday. Okay? Does anyone need a little more time?
No.
Perfect. Let's cancel the clock so it doesn't start buzzing on us. All right. Okay, here we go. First one. Mr. Bunsen, what do we fill in this information right here?
The
Date. How would you like it to write?
like 0.
Okay.
I think I just ran 07 slash 1. No, it'd be slash the
Okay.
month. So like 09.
Okay.
Yeah, 25.
25.
2017.
17, okay. And any day you want, that's fine. 7/25. I think today's date is 8/29, just so you know. It's 8/29 today. Okay, not bad. It was a date, has to be appropriate. Now here's the weird thing we forgot to discuss yesterday. When you're writing a check to somebody, the date has to be current. You can't write you cannot cash a check that is dated in the future. Think about that. So if somebody were to write you a check that's dated for September 11th this year, that's in like 2 weeks. You can't cash it until September 11th. Yes, 2 weeks. Question.
I have some old checks in my day.
Oh my goodness, you need cash those.
No, old, like, they're like old.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I mean, that happens. Those you might want to avoid. We'll show you how to do that.
They're just regular, they're not one.
Oh, okay. So, blank checks kind of thing? Yeah. So, you can use those at any
I don't
time.
know why they're even in my bank.
You can use those at any time as long as you have the cash in the bank and
Yeah.
they have the appropriate numbers on. Yeah, it happens. Okay? But yeah, can't use current. All right, next line. Eric, please. What do you got?
For pay the order out?
Yeah, like, what is this for? What do we fill in this information?
That's what I forgot.
Who are you gonna write it to?
Yeah, so who are you going to write yours to?
Sam.
Sam. All right, we're going to put Sam. All right. Guys, there. We're going to put Sam. Okay. So, you can put it, typically you want to write out the full name, but I'm just going to put Sam. That's good. All right. Now, keep going down the line. Eric, what do you got? What are we filling in?
The amount.
The amount. Okay, good. Because those all go together. Okay.
Yeah.
So, what amount did you give him? Because I know you're joking about it.
$172.20.
Oh my goodness, $172.27.
That actually could come in handy.
All right. All right. Now, did you write it like that, or do you have it some other way? How did you personally write it?
172.20 was a line under it.
Okay, 20. Line. Okay. And 100, or is it just like that?
No, a line under the 20.
Okay, like this.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. It's your style, so it's however you want to set it up. That's
I
fine.
didn't
Sam.
see that box there.
Yeah. Sam, what did you fill in the next line?
And a dollar one?
Like this thing, right here. What do you put in this area?
Well, it says dollars, so I'm assuming how much amount you put in there.
Exactly. So how much did he write his check for?
172.20.
Exactly. So this is how we're going to write it. 100.
For me, I did 1,000.
Okay, that's fine. But 172.
Oh, crap.
72. 20. And the 10 cents. You could put the 20 and put the little arrows straight across. It's however you want to do it. So, but it has to be in word form. That's what I said. Why do we do checks? It has to be in written word form. It's written expressions, verbal form. That's why it's important. Now notice, what is between the 72?
Yeah, dot.
It's a dash. That is a dash between the 72. Now there's a dot after, don't get me wrong. There's a dot between the the change and then the full dollars. But there's a dash, there's a hyphen between. Anytime you write a two-digit number, like 22, 23, 72, 77, not the number 18, but like a 22, 32, 57, you need to put dashes between these, which is something we did not discuss yesterday. That'll be a part of today's information. Because it's stringing together that the 2 is after 70, $72. Okay, question?
What is the NP meter? Are we going to be getting to that too?
We're going to get that today. Yep. Okay, are we good so far? I think that's where we left off yesterday. Not bad.
No.
No, we went past
Do we go past it?
Yeah.
No.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did. All right. Now, let's talk about some of the other things we didn't discuss yesterday. Okay, check number. What was important about this?
Has to match.
Has to match. It has to match. There has to be something like from previous checks. So banks will check like what check you wrote previous. They'll check that it's going in a numerical sequence. That's another way to see if somebody stole your checkbook. Are they going out of order?
Oh, someone
Okay.
says my checkbook.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, let's talk about this. What is this?
Where you live,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It has to be printed.
where your street.
This is your name, full name. This is your street that you're living on. This is the town. This is the state. That was the question. What is the TN? That's the state you're living in. Well, this check happens to be written for Tennessee. And this number back here is the zip code. Zip code for Garner is 50438.
Yeah.
Okay. And then sometimes they have phone numbers. It is good to have a phone number in case you lose your checks, and somebody can call you up on the phone.
But isn't the town Tennessee not Garner?
So any town you can put Garner, comma, Iowa. And Iowa, 2 letters, IA. Question.
Actually, I have a historic thing. Back in the day, our county number was 41.
41.
Yep.
Huh.
I did not know this.
That's so cool.
41 for
Your phone does not know how to be quite busy. I heard it go
mine.
ping.
Yeah, it's actually my iPad and my computer. They're all synced together. What is going on here? I have a projector. Ah, okay, we're back. All right. Now, next, your bank. This, in case of like a fraudulent check, this bank has to be real. You're looking for banks that you know of. Former State Bank, Clear Lake Bank and Trust, Wells Fargo. Typically, the town has to be printed. The town is usually printed somewhere around where you live. It's kind of apparent if somebody writes an Iowa check, like they have an Iowa address, but suddenly they have a California bank at the bottom. And that's a little sketchy. That's a little fraudulent. Typically, your bank has to be in the town you live, or somewhere close to it. So somewhere in Iowa. So this one says any town, Tennessee. Whatever. Okay, now let's talk about this line here. What is this 4 line? What is this?
The name of the, like, for the person, or for like who like, it'd be like if I was making it up, Sam, it'd be for me.
Okay.
I'd write it.
Yeah, so this line is the most unique line of your checks. You can put whatever you want there. And in fact, here's the weird thing. You could leave it blank.
Seriously?
Yeah, because it doesn't matter. This is to help you remember, because if you're writing checks, your bank has this option that they'll allow you, that every time you write a check, they will send you a copy in the mail to make sure that you wrote that check and what it was for, so to help you remember what you're writing all this money for. Some people that's really helpful, like I personally use it. Like for the last check I just wrote, it was for lunch money.
Oh.
And this is what I put on my check, right here in this 4 line. Is to remind me when I get that check back in the mail, oh yeah, that check was for lunch money. Because, you know, if I just wrote GHV Schools at the top, I don't know what I wrote the check for. Was it for a t-shirt order? Was it for like a physical? Was it for some thing that I was buying from the school? Oh no, I was paying lunch money. That makes sense. That's what my check was for. Now, MP line. What do you guys remember about this line? Or what do you know from...
That's the one I definitely forgot.
Okay, we didn't get to this one yesterday. This is the one line we didn't get to.
So that's how far we got yesterday.
Yep.
Pretty much.
It's right to that 4 line. I think that's where we ended.
Ow.
It's your signature. It's your personal signature. So you can do the signature however you want. Maybe you're the person that does this for their checks, and that is possible. You could do that. I would not recommend that. You could put an X there. You get to assign what your signature is. Typically, your signature has to match your driver's license. Because on your driver's license, yes, they will have a spot where you have to show your signature. These should match. Because the smart thing to do is when somebody's writing you a check, is to have them show you their ID for the check. Because you can check their signatures. Is it even close? Is it correct?
That makes sense.
Okay? You can put whatever you want here. Same with the style, like how you want to write your money, how you want to write this in Word form. It's your personal style. It's how you want to set this up. You could do this for all I care. That's my signature. It makes no sense, but that's my signature. As long as you can do it consistently over and over and over, you're fine. Okay, now here's the scary part. Because we talked about it yesterday, right?
Yeah.
We talked about all the different scams people can pull on people.
Like the waitress.
Exactly. The waitress can fill in bigger numbers, give themselves a nice little boost in.
What if they put 172 and they had the dot, but the person took the dot and went over with it to the circle?
Yeah. So now you're making like 100 or 1,072 like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 720. Yeah, but then you're gonna have to fix this. So now it's 1,000.
What
so
if they
you're gonna have
didn't
to fix
write that?
So, oh, if you didn't fill this out,
You know,
then they got $1,000 out of it. So you got to be very careful. You got to fill in the word form correctly, spelling it correctly. Now, the other thing that I need to warn you of is when you buy your checks, because I know, like Mr. Munson, you say you have a check. I don't know if you have personal checks anymore, but if you have checks, oh, there we go. It is a very, very smart idea, and this is just for you personally since you have a checkbook on you, is to never write the check inside the checkbook.
Oh.
Okay. So you're thinking, okay, wait. So here's my checkbook. The smart thing to do is to tear it out first. So this is now sitting on the counter of where you're going to buy something or the table or wherever you're at. You fill out the check there, and then you hand them the check, and so you wrote it out in front of them. Why would I have that? Like
So
Mr.
they
Nelson?
can see you do it.
So they can see that you filled it out.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Make sure you don't make a dumb move.
Okay. Here's the other thing. Okay. And in fact, I want you guys to experience this. Okay. This is a fun thing.
I don't write checks.
That's fine. In fact, I'm going to take a different notebook. I'm going to grab a different notebook from the back, so I'm just going to grab something that everyone can use. Okay.
I'm good.
Okay. Everyone's going to do this, and I don't care that you see everyone else. Okay. Write a number on your number, and don't show me it. Just write your number. Just put it on the paper. Write it kind of big. I'm not going to look. Okay. So you got your number written down.
Working tonight.
Okay, hand it over. So Eric, you got it? Write your number below it somewhere, kind of big. Okay. Right below it, kind of big. Not small, but big. I'm not going to try to look. I don't want to see your number. Then Steve, you're going to grab it from there and fill out your number below that. Kind of big, so you can see. Now, Steven, when you fill out your number on that piece of paper, I would like you to tear the piece of paper up, like tear it out of that notebook, and then, because it will tear pretty easy from the top. And then I want you to crumble it up so I can't see what your number is.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, you got it?
Wait.
Tear that piece of paper out. Crumble that up so I don't see it. Okay, good. All right. Now, why did I have you do that? Because this is the same situation as the check, right? You guys filled out numbers. And you guys filled it out in the checkbook. So all somebody has to do is come along and do one of these. And they can see what number you have written down in the paper. All right, so somebody is, this would be the first number. This would be Sam's. Your secret number was 69. And I can keep going and just keep doing it.
Because you write really hard.
You write really hard. And all that somebody has to do is just write paper. And somebody wrote really soft. I can't get that. Oh, here we go. Here's a number. That is a 5, I believe. What is that? A 52? No. Is there another number in front of it? Is it like 152?
No. Oh, you might. He had 68.
Oh, is that 68? Oh, it is a 6 and an 8. All right. But you guys get the idea, right? I proved the point. Because what somebody will do is if you fill this out in your checkbook, and they get your checkbook from you, they can do this. They can
But then they have a whole bunch of scribbles on it.
Yeah, but they take the first copy, they'll tear the first copy off, and they'll do this. They'll shade in this part, like what I was doing, because your signature will be perfectly behind it, and now they can copy it perfectly. They can copy over it. Like I can see very distinctly the number 69. You can can see it right on the top.
Oh, wow,
It's,
you can.
it's plain as day.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like they're gonna see your signature. So if they have your entire checkbook, they know exactly how you sign your checks. And so all they need to do is fill out your signature over and over and over and all the checks below it, and now they have your name on them, and that's legit. The bank will look at it and go, okay, yep, you know, Sam did sign it. That's a legit check. I'm gonna cash it. And they can fill out the top part all they want. And here's the worst part. They can scribble all the stuff up here and see exactly how do you write checks. Do you write certain words? Do you leave certain blanks? They'll do all that stuff. And look how easy that was. That was one check. Here's the worst part. I could pull this piece of paper up and do it again, and I could still keep seeing it. Because your signature is impressed. Like when you fill out checks, because if you're writing checks, you push pretty hard. Your signature and all that stuff is on the next 5 lines. It's the next 5 pages down. I have perfect copies of everything for 5 checks.
Wow.
How scary is that? That's a little scary. Somebody could seriously bankrupt you fast by doing that. In fact, if you write a check that's for more money in your bank, the bank will actually cash it, and then they're going to send you a letter in the mail that says you've overdrafted.
Oh, wow.
You've taken out more money than you have in your account. You need to come up to the bank and take care of that and put more money in the bank.
What happens if like they don't have that money?
If you don't have that money, like you don't have that money to
They
put,
took out a lot more than they were supposed
you need to report that a fraudulent activity happened. Typically what will happen when a bank sees a check come through, like let's say they wrote a check for $1 million. Like that's a red flag. Like I don't have $1 million. Like seeing that type of money go through, the bank would probably just not accept the check.
What about like 1,000?
1,000, they might cash it. And then they might call you on the phone and go, hey, you need to come into the bank and put some money in the account. Were you planning on like taking a loan or something? And they're like, no, I didn't write any checks. What are you talking about? Yeah, so you wrote a check today for $1,000. I didn't. So then now you're off to the races. Now you get the police involved, and you're out of money for a while. Because the bank doesn't magically just give you your $1,000 back. They have to prove that you didn't do it. They have to prove what happened. They have to prove where that check was written, and they have to see video cameras to make sure that it wasn't you. So you're literally, your bank account is frozen. You can't write anything. You can't buy gas. You can't get food. You can't do anything. It is a pain. Like you're out of money for a while.
What if Donald Trump got his money taken? If he wrote in $1 billion, would someone get it because he's so rich?
They could probably cash it.
And then Donald Trump would
do it. Okay, you've probably seen them do this at Target. When you write a check, and they will put that little check through the little. Okay, so let's talk about the actual verbal form, the written expressions. So now you've seen what it's used for. Let's actually do a couple practice problems. So you need your notes still. I would like you to write down this next number I'm about to show you. Okay, let me get rid of all this stuff. All right, that's good. Okay, so I'm going to put a number on the board. I would like you to write it down. Okay, this is my example. So write that down somewhere in your notes. Okay? Everyone have it? Now that you've probably done it, how many people wrote it in numerical form with numbers?
I did.
Okay, now you get to write it in words.
I should have wrote it in here for normal.
So I'd like you to write it in words. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, how do I write in words? I want somebody in this room volunteer. Raise your hand. Sit. Raise your hand. All right. Okay?
I got it.
So
7.
So say it again.
2,705.
2,705. Absolutely right. Exactly how you say it is exactly how you write it in words. That's why I always tell people, like when they're really struggling, like, how do I write that in words? Say it to yourself, like have like an inner monologue. 2,705. Whatever you just said in your head is exactly what you put in words on paper. Okay? Now, do I need any hyphens or anything?
No.
No. I know that some books will want you to put a comma after the word 2,000. Because when you look at the digits, where does the comma go? Where does the comma go? behind the 2,000, right? So 2,000 comma.
Oh,
So that's totally fine. Some people like to put a decimal at the end because that's where the decimal point is. That's fine. Decimals at the end of your numbers. Okay, do we have that understanding?
Yeah.
Next number.
I just keep writing so far.
Don't say it out loud. Don't say it out loud. Write it down in
I
words.
wanna say it out next.
Okay. I'll have you do that, but I want you to write it in words, not numerical. So write it in word form, verbal.
I'll
I'll use it.
write it in number version too.
That's fine. You need to put it in numerical, that's fine. I need to get the third one. I gotta go find that.
68. So he's looking for your number.
I didn't know if you put it on there, did you?
Yeah, I did.
He's gonna have to look all fast for you.
There is something right there. It's 17.
No. 169.
All right.
169.
Okay. Notes, bring them tomorrow. Can do your books tomorrow. We are getting a new book assignment tomorrow. I'm going to check this one tomorrow. So make sure you have this 934. Make sure you have it on paper out. Steven, don't forget to put a book cover on your book.
What?
Checking it tomorrow. Book cover. Let's see how Okay.
One word.
Perfect. So you guys are good? Go. Make sure you grab your phones. Put your phones in the caddy. No big deal. Okay. Books tomorrow. Notes tomorrow. Make sure that 934 number's written down.
See you tomorrow.
Later. Got your room.